Hello again, everybody, and welcome inside Coach's Corner, powered by Squirtle. I'm Todd Miller as we continue to preview this huge Class A semifinal matchup between the Pawhuska Huskies and the Cashion Wildcats. We're joined now by Lynn Shackelford, the longtime head coach of Cashion. And Shack, it's good to see you, and it's, I know, very exciting times in Cashion. It's mid-December, and the Wildcats' dream of playing for a gold ball still is alive.
Yeah, no, it's great to see you guys. I'm happy to be here.
It's kind of like Santa Claus in December, Cashion playing late in the season. I mean, this is a tradition unlike any other, isn't it?
Well, I mean, hopefully we can keep it that way. We've been pretty fortunate the last couple of years to be able to be in this situation and have a chance to win and go play for a gold ball. So we'll show up Friday and see what happens.
I know, Shaq, that you knew this team was going to be very, very good, but early in the season, did you not have some question marks just based on all that you had lost the previous season? And then to look now, 14 games later, this team is as dominating or maybe more so than the one last year.
Yeah, no, we lost some really good players off of last year's team. And, we'd kind of circled last year as the year that, we had as good a shot as any to win a state championship. And then we fell a little bit short and lost, I think, 17 seniors, 16 seniors, something like that. Knew we had a chance. Hold on, my lights went off in here. Knew we had a chance to be pretty good coming back, but, yes, did have some question marks, especially up front on the offensive line. We only had one returning starter on the offensive line. Defensive line was kind of the same way. I thought defensively we had a chance to be pretty good just because we were going to be so athletic and could run around. But, offensively, I think, as the season's gone along, we've gotten a little bit better, and we'll see on Friday. I mean, Pawhuska's definitely got a defensive line that will test us for sure.
What has been the key to sustaining success over there? Because 17 senior, Shack, at a 3A or a 4A school can be very, very detrimental. A Class A school survives that. How have you been able to withstand losses like that over a period of time to continue the success the program has?
Well, I think, and I don't think I'm the only one that would tell you this. I think, places that have, I think Bob at Thomas would tell you the same thing. Coons at Ringley would tell you the same thing. I think when you are able to be a little bit successful and I think that your kids kind of understand and they see what it takes to be able to do that. So you've got 17 seniors that graduate. Well, those 17 kids spent 3 and 4 years showing the kids under them, this is what you do in the off season. This is how you lift. This is how you run. This is how you practice. This is how you play. This is how you handle every week like it's its own unique week. And I think our kids, and I tell our kids this all the time, and I'll tell anybody else that wants to listen to me. I think that more than anything is the reason why we've been able to be successful year in and year out. And we've been fortunate enough that, some of those kids that have responded that way and acted that way are also really talented. But, I think that's the biggest thing is you have to learn how to do everything besides Friday night, because Friday nights are easy. It's the other stuff that's hard. And I think that's where, probably it's harder than anything to sustain success, if that makes sense.
Before we talk about the matchup and break your team down here in just a minute, this season has galvanized your football program, your school, and your community, all kind of rallying around Coach Cochran. Talk about the influence that he has had, the way he's dealt with his personal tragedy in helping to lead this program to where you are today.
Well, I think anytime you have just a person like Kale, who's just above anything else, is just a great guy. And then you see somebody like that go through the tragedy that he went through back in July, no one loves Cashion more than Kale. No one. There's not a person that has walked the earth or is walking the earth or will walk the earth that loves Cashion more than Kale does, and he wears that love on his sleeve, and everybody knows that. Anybody that knows Kale or anybody that's seen Kale knows how much he loves Cashion. So it's easy for Cashion to wrap their arms around Kale, and that's what's happened. We see it every day. Our kids write stuff on their wrists before, we play on Friday night. And then, it's one of the worst days of my life. So I can only imagine what it was like for Kale, but to be able to move forward and to see the strength that he's shown to be able to persevere and kind of move forward with his life and to see Jax and watch him, grow over the last, 5 months is kind of inspiring. So, yeah, I think I think more than anything, it's shown what kind of place this is, what kind of town we live in and what kind of community we have and school we have. And, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And I know Kale wouldn't either. So, from that standpoint, it's been pretty awesome to see.
Cashion head football coach Lynn Shackelford is our guest here on Coach's Corner, powered by Squirtle. Lynn, your offense has taken on a little bit different dynamics this year. You've rushed the football less per game than you did a year ago, but you've been much more efficient passing. What's been the difference in the change this year?
Well, I think we've got a quarterback that's a year older from last year, and I think our team makeup is a little bit different on offense. Like I said, last year we had 4 seniors on the offensive line that had all started at least 3 years. One of them had started 4 years. So, we kind of leaned on them a little bit more last year. We had a sophomore quarterback last year. So we kind of leaned on the running game a little bit more. This year we've thrown it around a little bit more. Some of that has had to do with just the way teams have defended us. A lot of that is probably just Ben being a year older. And I think that we also brought back some wide receivers off last year's team that, are a year older and a year bigger and faster and stronger. And, when we've got some guys out on the perimeter that when we can get the ball in their hands, they're pretty good. So, we've tried to do that a little bit more than just turn it around and hand it to one guy, 30 times a game.
Those guys you're talking about are Manning, you're talking about Lagasse, you're talking about Brexton Green.
Yeah.
I think you have to go pretty high up in high school football in this state to find a program at any level that has 3 better wideouts and playmakers at those positions.
Well, I hope you're right. We've been pretty fortunate around here to have some wideouts that have come through here that are pretty good. And I would put these 3 guys up against any that we have. Now, we've had some that, maybe bigger or maybe faster or maybe a little bit stronger or whatever. But just as a group, I think they're as good as any we've had. And hopefully, it will continue to where it's a little bit of a matchup problem for people. And if you want to load the box and try to stop, our running game and try to stop Hayden, then, we have to be able to throw the ball out on the perimeter, and we have to be able to win out there. We talked about it this morning in film. If depending on how Pawhuska plays us, if they want to play one-on-one on the outside, then we're going to have to win some one-on-one matchups in there. And if they don't, like last week, Woodland did everything possible to make sure Brexton didn't catch a pass. So we ran the ball a little bit more than we have, this year, and Caden was able to, to have a lot of success doing that. So hopefully we can find some balance that way this week against Pawhuska, and we'll kind of see how it goes.
You talk about carrying on the tradition. Perhaps nobody in your program exemplifies that more than your quarterback, Ben Harmon. I mean, he grew up always wanting to be a guy that was the guy for Cashion on Friday nights, and he's kind of a legacy player. His brother was a very good player for your program as well.
Yeah, no, his brother was really good. He got hurt his senior year, hurt his finger, or I really think he would hold every passing record that Oklahoma has, which was unfortunate, but injuries happen in football. So Ben's got some big shoes to fill. I think last year it was probably really difficult for Ben to be. He was the only non-returning starter we had on our team last year, and you could kind of feel the weight that he carried a lot last year because of that. I think this year he's kind of relaxed a little bit and played like he's capable of playing. But he'll be the first one to tell you that he's been successful because he's got time to throw the ball, and he's got guys that he can throw it to that can take a 5-yard pass and make it a 95-yard pass. So, but just like any quarterback on any Friday night, Ben has to play well in order for us to be successful. So hopefully he'll have a good game Friday.
You've got a bunch of hard-nosed, tough kids up and down both sides of your lineup. But having seen your program play one time this year, there's one guy, Hayden Harrell, that if you want to look up the definition of a football player, Hayden Harrell's a football player, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he really is. And, I'll tell you this, Todd, and I think anybody that's watched us play over the last 17 years since I've been here, we haven't had a lot of hard-nosed, tough kids all up and down the roster. But I think this year, defensively, we're as physical as we've been since I've been here, and I think a lot of that, comes from guys like Hayden and just, our kids seeing how he plays, and I think that, that kind of trickles down and shows other guys how to play. And we're going to have to be that way on Friday against Pawhuska. We talk about it every week. In any football game, I don't care if you're watching Class A, I don't care if you're watching the Dallas Cowboys play. The team that's the most physical is going to be the team that has the best shot to win. So we've talked about that. We've talked about that a bunch. And hopefully that, that'll ring true on Friday.
I think Coach Hennessy would say, in fact, he has told me this, that neither one of you are surprised you're seeing each other in the second week of December. I mean, it seems like these two programs have been on the collision course since the opening week of the season.
Yeah, I think you could probably see that, just looking at how the districts matched up and, who was going to be district champs and whatever. I think you could make that prediction, pretty early on, that there was a good chance that we were going to match up. But, I mean, you and I talked about this earlier. I think when you get to this point in the season, it doesn't matter who you play. They're all going to be good. I think the 4 best teams are in the semifinals. And, I think us and Pawhuska will be a war. I think Thomas and Ringling will be a war. And I think you could flip any of the matchups around and it'd be the same way. So, it's going to be like any other football game when 2 really good teams are playing. Whoever doesn't make the most mistakes and can capitalize when the other team does will probably be the team that wins on Friday.
Obviously, very few people play the caliber of quarterback you're going to see in Bryce Drummond on Friday night, but you guys don't really tailor so much defensively to what he does as hoping to win a lot of one-on-one matchups in the secondary. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, we're going to, we'll have a couple of different plans for him. I think you have to. I don't think you can just say, well, we're just going to line up, like we would any other Friday night, and we'll take our chances with him. He's really good. He can spin it as good as anybody I've seen on film. He's a big kid. He can throw it around. He's got some guys that can go get it. And when they get the ball in their hands, can do something with it. So, we've talked to a lot of our kids this week about, it's okay if they make some plays. It's okay if they throw it and catch it. They're going to get first downs. And, that's one of the things that we've really talked about a lot this week so far, and we're going to continue to, is it's going to be like a normal football game, which I think for our kids sometimes is a little bit weird. It's probably not going to be 35 rip at the end of the first quarter. And, they're going to move the ball and they're going to get first downs. And we may not. We may have to punt. All those things are okay. All those things happen every Saturday afternoon, every Sunday afternoon, most Friday nights around the state of Oklahoma, in just normal competitive games. So we're fully expecting them to have some success on offense and have some success on defense. And hopefully we can too. And then we'll just kind of figure it out as we go.
Always appreciate you. Good to see you. Thanks for all your help, and we'll see you on Friday night.
You bet, man.
Cashion Wildcat head coach Lynn Shackelford, our guest here on Coach's Corner, powered by Squirtle.